Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Gabor and today I'm going to talk about how to make your app visually more appealing. So basically how to create this from to this, and we are going to use 5 simple rules to make our application visually much better. So let's just dive in. We, as usual, we have the link in the description, so you can download this Figma file and just follow along with me and make this application much better. Um, I just want to point out some things that is wrong with this application design, or in my opinion is not that good. First of all, these elements are not aligned. We are not using, in my taste, this is not the best font to use. The colors are not consistent. We are using this app is using a blue color, green color, somewhere it uses black and gray and orange as well. But we are going to get over step by step how to make it much better. So what I'm going to do, I just simply drag this and copy to here. And the first thing, and I think this is the most important, to use some kind of rule or grid for our application. I tend to use, and I use this every day in my workflow, the 8 pixel or the 4 pixel grid. And it just creates a visually appealing, more good hierarchy for the design. So what what I mean by that is, first of all, let's align everything to the left here, because these things are not aligned properly. So I can just select all of these by holding down the shift and clicking on each element, and align everything to the left with this button. And this is where the 8 pixel rule comes handy, because for example, I want to use some spacing here on the left and the right, and that's going to be 24. So every number that is divided by 8 pixels, that's good for us. For example, 40 or 32 or 24 or 16, 12, which is divided by 4, but it still applies for this hierarchy or this rule, or 8. So we're gonna use these numbers to create the spacing. So now that we aligned everything to the left and everything is 24 pixels from the left, let's start with this top area, and I want to align this 40 pixels from the top, and this text I want to align 12 pixels from the picture. And for this icon, I'm just going to align and center it with picture, selecting both of them and click vertical alignment. And for this text, I want to create a spacing like 24 pixels. Maybe 12 pixels from here and 16 pixels from here. Between these cards, I'm going to use the 16 pixel again. With this explore more title, I probably use 24 and align that with the bottom. And with these little cards or icon buttons, it's 12 pixels, and this one can be 16. So you can see and compare with just these little tweaks with the 8 pixel or 4 pixel rule. We created a much better visual hierarchy on this page. So it's much easier to read, and it has this basic rule to separate each of the elements. And I want to fix inside of these cards as well. And what I use here is 16 pixels, and I'm grabbing this location and the pin icon, and that's going to be 8 pixels and 16s from the left. Just gonna grab all of them and put 16 from the bottom. I'm going to do the same here. Let's just check between them. Now it's 8, now it's 7, so I want to put 8 pixels. Here as well, 16 pixels and 16 from the left as well. And from each other it's 8 pixels. Okay, and inside these buttons, these are already components and auto layout. But as you can see, the spacing between them is 13, and I want to use less, like 12 or 8. Okay, 8 actually looks good. And the top padding and the left and right padding is okay. Let's do the same in this card as well. So between these two elements, the pictures and the text, is 20. I'm going to reduce that to 16. And the right padding is 16 as well. The size of this picture is 48, which can divide it by 8, so that's good. This icon is 40, that's great. I like to use this as much as possible for the fonts as well. So I'm going to check the fonts. This is 12 pixels, that's good. And even the line height, let's say this is 16. the name is 20 pixels and the line height is 24. And let's just align these. So I'm aligning the name to the bottom of the picture, and let's say I want to use 4 pixels between them, or maybe 2, and place it to the middle, align it to the middle of the pictures. Now let's check this one. Is 28. Maybe we can use 32 here. Let's check these ones. These are 16. That's okay. Let's check the line height quickly. Here is 40. And the line height for these tabs is, let's say, 24. I even use this rule for the corner radius, so 48 is okay here. Maybe I reduce it to just 8. This one is 8 as well for the settings icon. And for these pictures, let's use a 12 pixel radius on all the pictures. But we are going to jump back to the font sizes now. It's 15, so I'm setting this to 16, and the line height is 24. This one is good, 12, the line height is 16. This one's 16 as well, the line height is 24. And it's 4 pixels from the title. This one, for example, is too big for my taste, so I'm going to reduce it to 20. The line height is 32. This one is a bit too small. I'm going to use 16. Line height is 24. And I want to align these 24 pixels from the right. And let's say this is 24 pixels, that's correct. Let's check these. Font sizes, this is 12, that works for me. I'm just changing the border radius to 12 as well, just as we used it here. Here we used 8 and 8. And here I want to use the radius 12 again. And the spacing can be 16, and between them is 16 as well. Okay, so we are more or less done with the spacing. As you can see, this looks much better, but we can make it more appealing. So what I want to do now is just copy and paste this artboard here, and now we are going to work with the fonts. And for my taste, this font called Dosis is not that good. what I like to use is Montserrat, San Francisco UI, Rubik. You can find these fonts on Google Fonts, or you can browse and buy some fonts on My Fonts. It's up to you. I usually use Google Fonts because those are free and web friendly, so you can use it on websites and applications, so it's very easy to implement. And for this application I want to use the font Fig3, which is this font actually, and I want to select all the fonts and just change them to Fig3. Probably this one. I want to use bold here, and for the name as well I want to use bold. Let's change these ones as well. You can select all of them and type in the desired font you want to change to, and just hit enter and it changes. And bold, maybe semi-bold for these titles. Select these ones again. Okay, these are a bit too far, so I'm going to lower the spacing here to 12. Let's change the font here as well, and in these cards and I want to add some spacing here for these cards. So this is already an auto layout, so I'm just going to add 8 pixels on the top and 8 pixels on the bottom, and it already has 16 on the right, let's say 8 on the left, and I want to create a border radius for this, which is going to be 8. And this one, I'm going to drag this out so we can see what we are working with. The corner radius for the whole auto layout is 12. And the top and bottom is 8, and the left and right can be 8, and the picture corner radius inside is 8. Okay, now we are done. We can drag it back and send it to the back. Make sure it's 16 pixel from the first card. Okay, now that we are done with the spacing and changing all the fonts, now we can go and select or change the colors, because obviously these colors are a bit messed up, so we need to fix that. So I'm going to copy and paste it under here. And I already grabbed some colors. It's kind of fall autumn inspired colors. I simply picked it from this picture actually. So I'm using these colors, but you can create your own, or you can go to this website like colorhunt.co or colors.co, and you can explore and download these color palettes and use it in your designs. It's pretty helpful. Maybe this green palette would work as well, but I'm going to use these colors that I already predefined in the global styles. So first of all, I want to change the background because now it's white, and I want to use this pale yellow for the background. And for these fonts, I'm going to use this reddish brownish color. For these ones as well. The selected color is actually good, the orange that I picked. Only the selected state is not good because the selected state, I want to use it bold, and these ones I want to use regular or medium, and these ones are white, which is okay. This title here is this reddish or brownish color. Sorry, I forgot this icon here. The background of this icon, I want to use this red but I'm going to decrease the opacity to 10% or 20%. And for the icon, I'm using this Bordeaux or brown color as well. And here I want to use the same as I used here, so the background is this Bordeaux color, but 20% opacity or 10, we'll see. Maybe 10 is enough. And the colors for the selected state, I am going to use this orange gradient that I created. So the fill is this orange gradient, and the color for these fonts and icons is the same, this Bordeaux or brownish color. For the background of these little cards, I'm just setting to white and the font inside is brown as well. For this button, I'm going to use the gradient, and for the background we are using the Bordeaux color, and these icon colors and font colors I'm changing to white, and the selected ones I'm changing to this orange. And I also want to use, because this menu has a drop shadow, and I want to use not black, I want to use the Bordeaux, and I want to decrease the opacity to 40%, 60. Let's see what is going to work. Okay, so now we change the colors. It looks much better, but we can still work on some things. So the next step that I'm going to do is inspecting and changing the icons, because this application is using sometimes line icons, sometimes field icons, and we want to be consistent with that. So let's start from the top. So the settings icon, we don't need the fill, we just need the stroke, which is our Bordeaux. And for this one, we don't need the fill, we just need a stroke with the Bordeaux. That's good. These ones are actually good because I want to use this orange color. And for these ones, I want to change the icons to line icons, which is already here. These icons are already here, so you can change them. The color is Bordeaux as well. The color of this one, Bordeaux as well. And the cruise ship, need to change the boat to this one, and Bordeaux as well. And this one it's not visible, so we can change it. I forgot to change the font here, so I'm just going to fix that very quickly. And the lighthouse icon is already good here. I'm just putting back and make sure it's on place. It's 12 pixels from the title and 24 from the left. Okay, so that's good. And here I want to do the same. I want to use line icons instead of these field ones. So let's add a stroke and delete the fillings. Let's do the same here. Add a stroke and delete the fillings, but it's not orange, it's white. This one has a white stroke already, so that's good, and the profile is good, and the main button is good. So with just some very easy and little steps, we changed from this to this, and it looks, in my opinion, it looks much better, and it's more understandable, it's more consistent with the colors and the fonts and the icons. But we can do a few more things, so I'm just going to put this back here and duplicate it again. And for this one, at this step, I want to add some extra styles, maybe some gradients in the background. So let's first do that. I'm going to create an ellipse. Draw an ellipse by holding down the shift, so all the sides are equal. And I'm going to use this Bordeaux color, and what I want to do is add an effect here that is a layer blur, and I want to use a pretty high number here, like 240 or 200, and place and send this to the back, and maybe decrease the opacity to 50 or 60 pixels. And I'm going to detach this color because I want to, it's a bit too red for me. I want to put it more to the orange side. Okay, that looks good. And what I'm going to do, just duplicate this, and this time use a yellowish color, and I'm going to place it somewhere here. Okay, that's good. I want to add the drop shadow to this profile picture. So I'm going to select effects, drop shadow, and let's say the blur is 24 and the Y is 8, and we are going to use this color and decreasing the opacity to 40. Add another one that is going to be the same color. The blur is 8, the Y is 2, and let's say this is just 20%. Okay, and these are just little design tweaks that I like to use. This is just spicing up more the designs. So what I want to do here is create a rectangle. I'm going to add the stroke. The width of the stroke is 4. And I want to use an effect here, which is background blur. And for the background blur to be visible, we need to decrease the opacity or the fill of the color. And I'm going to decrease it to 60. Okay, so this is just adding a little bit more style to our application. And I want to do the same here, just adding some drop shadows to these cards, under these cards. So what I want to, how I am going to create this is drawing a rectangle, more or less this size. It doesn't matter that much. The color is our Bordeaux, and again I'm going to add an effect, which is layer blur, and I'm going to use a pretty big one, maybe 32 or 40. And I want to send this to the back, so it's under this card. And I want to add the same effect for this one, so I'm just going to grab and copy. Again, select both of them and align them to the middle. Make sure it's still 16 pixels from the first card. Okay, that's great. For the selected state of this card, I'm again adding a drop shadow, but this time with an effect. So we can select the color, our orange one. The blur is 24, maybe that's a bit too much. The Y is 8, and the opacity is 40 pixels. And let's add another one. This one is 8, this one is 2, let's say this is 20%. Okay, so now we added these drop shadows. It looks, in my opinion, it looks much better. And I want to work on this menu a bit more. So to make this visually more appealing, I want to maybe add like a corner here and a cutout to this part. And how I'm going to do this is increase the size of this one, duplicate it by hit Command D or Control D. We don't need the drop shadow. Let's make this to a different color, like orange. And what I want to do is to add a pretty big corner radius, maybe 48 or 40. And I'm using the 8 pixels rule wherever I can. So in case you noticed it, I'm using 40 here, which can be divided by 8. So I'm just going to grab these two elements. Let's grab it to here so we can see it much better. So we have these two elements and I want to select both of them and I'm going to subtract it. I'm going to subtract the orange from the Bordeaux color. Okay, and I want to create a cutout for this button. So what I'm going to do is I'm drawing an ellipse. It's 80 pixels. Align them to the middle, and I want to subtract it from this group. And how I'm going to do that is I am dragging this ellipse and put it inside here. I want to make this bigger because for the whole subtract element I want to add a border radius, corner radius, which is 16 or 24. We'll see which one works. And even if we subtracted this this circle and this orange element, we can still move around. So that's pretty awesome. So we can play with it and see. I'm grabbing this one as well, and I want to bring this to the front and place it somewhere here. Maybe I'm going to increase this one a bit more. Okay. And what I want to do here is add some effect around this button so it's more prominent. So I'm going to duplicate this by Command D or Control D, put it behind and select the orange color, and by holding down Alt and Shift I'm just going to increase the size a little bit and make this to 20% or 10%. I'm going to duplicate it again, select it and duplicate it again and increase the size. And I just want to check something here, because for this color maybe I want to use this darker one. Yeah, that's much better. So now that we have this button effect, maybe I want to add a drop shadow as well. And the first drop shadow, I'm going to pick this color and make this to 16 pixel and 8 pixel. And add the second one, which is an orange. The fill is 20 pixel, the blur is 24, and the Y is 12. Maybe we can increase this more. Okay, I'm going to group everything and put it back to place. Align it to the middle and just drag it down a bit. Maybe increase this one a bit more. Okay, so I believe we followed all the steps to make the applications design much better. So I'm just going to quickly walk through what we have done and see the end results and see where we started. So first we apply the 8 pixel grid or rule. We are using this for the spacing between the images and all other elements. 16, 12, 24, 40, these numbers all work. Just keep in mind if it can divide it by 8 or 4, that's good. It creates a much more visually appealing hierarchy for our design. And in the second step, we were changing the fonts to this fig tree font, Google font. So we change all the fonts on the layout, so it's much more consistent. And we picked some colors. In this case, I picked some colors from this picture and I was tweaking it a bit. And here we changed the icons, because the icons were mixed. It was filled and line, so it was not consistent. So I changed everything here to these line icons that I like it much better. And in the end, we were adding some styles. I added some blurred elements in the background, these color elements. I added some drop shadows for these images, or drop shadows for the selected states. And at last but not least, I changed and we went from this menu to this menu. We were using some techniques to subtract elements from each other and create this really cool wavy effect for the menu. So that's it, guys. I hope you liked it, and I hope it really helps. These 5 simple steps, I hope it really helps for your next designs. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below, and thank you for watching. See you in the next video.